In this video, I'm going to show you how to make one of these mission style lamps. Welcome back to Victory Woodworks with Vic, and I'm Vic. And in this episode, we're going to be making these mission style lamps out of Sapele, and in this white case here, out of maple. For me, it costs about $40 to make one of these lamps. It includes the shade, which was about $15. The lumber for the Sapele for me was $9 a board foot, and I needed about a board foot per lamp. And then the lamp kit was about $12. So you add it all up, it's about 36 bucks, plus or minus a little tax, a little shipping, whatever. So our order operations for today are going to be to mill up the lumber to rough pieces. So we're going to need a base that's roughly six inches square, with it about a 1 1/4 or a little bit taller if we can. We're going to mill up our posts, which are going to be made out of 2 pieces and glued together. They need to be about 2 inches on the one direction and just over 1 inch in the other direction, because what we're going to do is going to put a groove down the middle. I'm going to glue them up, and then we're going to glue that post to the base after we've beveled the base. We're also going to We're also going to drill a hole in the base. Well, you can't see it here for these, but hold on a sec. It basically looks like this. So here's your piece, bevel on 4 sides. We left a little reveal. We're going to drill a hole into the center, and on the other side, what we're going to do is we're going to dado in, or groove in, depending on which direction you're going in, a slot for the cable. And that's essentially it. This is a very simple project. Anybody should be able to do it. Should take a weekend unless you're videotaping, in which case it takes you like 2 or 3 weeks to do this. So let's go to our lumber selection and starting the milling process. Step 1 in the process of building these lamps is selecting our lumber. And our choice today is going to be this Sapele, which will come out beautiful. What we're going to do is we're going to mark out the pieces we need to cut on this lumber just to make it easier for ourselves to work with. So the first step is to cut off some of this edge here. So I'm going to give it about 1 inch at the end that we don't need. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set up 4 blanks of 6 inches for the base of our lamps. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've used up so far just about 29 inches of our lumber. The next part is completely arbitrarily up to you, because it depends on how tall you want your lamps. Now I'm modeling mine around 14 to 16 inches, and that's what I'm going to do here. So what I'm going to do is give myself a little extra so I can choose later whether I want it 12, 14, 16, or maybe even 18 inches. We're right about 48 inches. So if you're wondering how much lumber it's going to take, I think I mentioned 1 board foot per lamp. So this board happens to be 9 inches wide, which you don't necessarily need a 9-inch wide board. You can get away with something just over 6 inches because you got to fit in the bases, and then you'll use up a little bit more for the vertical pieces. By 48, by 5/4 lumber. What we're going to do is once we plane this down, we're going to see how thick we can make the base. Now, I have in my plans 1 inch to 1 1/4 inch, a couple different sizes in there to give you guys some choices of what you'd like to do. But really, it's up to you how thick it is. We're just going to use a chop saw, because essentially it's three cuts. We're going to cut the board in half. We're going to separate the body of the lamp from the bases, which are here, and then we're going to cut off the end just to clean things up. So why don't I get the board up here onto the chop saw, put on our PPE, and let's get to it. Not sure you saw that, but we have a slight crack here. Goes a little ways. So we may have to cut another 6-inch blank. So let me do that now while we have the saw all set up. Next step in this process is to plane down the boards, get them nice and smooth at the top, and see what we got. Okay, final thickness on these boards is 1 1/8. So what we're going to do next is we're going to cut our 8 bodies, or 8 halves of bodies from this piece. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this in half somewhere around here, and then here quarters, to come up with our 6 bases. Almost forgot one of the safety steps here. We forgot the riving knife inside the table saw. Let's let this spin down. Let's drop it in and make sure we stay safe. Okay, now we're ready to go. So right now, let's just cut both of these boards down into our blanks. We're going to install our Freud box joint cutter set, which is basically a dado, but it comes in 2 sizes, basically 1/4 inch or 3/8. Since the lamp, I don't know what you want, threaded rod that goes inside is 3/8, what we're going to do is we're going to cut a 1/4 inch slightly oversized, probably 5/16, so we can thread it in. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take this base pieces and we're going to cut them into first 6.5 inches and then 6-inch squares to get them to the right size that we need them, which is basically 6-inch squares. There you have it, our 6 by 6-inch blanks. The next step in our process of building out this lamp is going to be gluing up these blanks together. So what we're going to do is spread them out, put some glue on either side, put them together, and then clamp them down. Our goal is going to be try to keep the glue out of the center, because again, we need to put the wire right through the center. We don't want to block that up with anything. But if we did block it up with something, I have an extra long drill bit that we could send down here to kind of chase it out if we really needed to. So why don't we glue these blanks up and move on. You want enough glue to glue it together, but you don't want too much squeeze out. It's kind of how they have it. Everybody says that, but nobody tells you exactly how much glue to put on. For me, this looks like it's about right. Also, make sure the grooves are together. Let's see how our glue up went, and let's trim up the boards just a little bit, and then we're going to cut all the bevels for the lamp body. Blanks look pretty good. To properly set the table saw up to cut the bevels, we need to figure out first how thick our wood is. In this case, it is, turn that on, 1.1 inches. So what I've done is I've created this little cheat sheet for you guys. I don't know if you can see that. I'll post this in the video. So to get the proper angle, so we have a 2-inch square in the middle on a 6-inch square with a 1/4 inch reveal, we need to cut the angle at 23 degrees. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to raise my blade as high as it'll go. I'm going to grab my little Wixley device here. I'm going to zero it out. And I'm going to slap it onto our guide here, our blade here. And we're going to turn it to 90 minus 23 degrees, so 67 degrees. Now that we have the blade at 67 degrees, let me see, I locked it down. We're going to take our beveling gauge here, slip it on. We want to bring this all the way over so that our piece of wood, or our blank here, is up against this. There we go. Now it's locked in. We're going to need the second one here too later as we start spinning this around, because we're going to be cutting off little pieces here. We have a 1/4 inch setup block. So this distance is 1/4 inch. I'm going to slip it in there, and we're going to bring it right up to where the blade touches the block. So what that does is it gives us a 1/4 inch block, 1/4 inch gap right here, give us a little 1/4 inch reveal, or not a reveal, but an edge, and then we're going to slice away the rest. I'm going to do that 4 times. One thing, make sure you lower the blade so you don't hit your clamps, because this is way too high. Lower it as low as you need to just to make the cut. And there you have it. We have our blanks here. These are about 2 inches square. What we're going to do is we're going to try to keep 2 inches at the bottom and 1 3/4 at the top. So to do that, we need to remove about 1/4 inch around the perimeter. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to set my little ruler gauge here to 1/4 inch. And what I'm going to do is just take a pencil and kind of draw it out right here. But you can see here, you can see what I want to cut off. The way I set that up is I take my jig. Let me loosen this up here. And I set up one end at the back to be right at the edge of the jig. Lock that down. Now, whether it's 1/4 inch or 3/8 or whatever you choose, that's really up to you. And what I do is set the other end right on the line. You can do this for 2 sides. The reason being is because you're going to rotate this. Those 2 sides will fine, but now this one, you've got it cut off. So I'm going to do 2 sides of all of them, then I'm going to reset it for the other 2 sides of all of them. Make sure it's tall enough and that the clamps aren't in the way. When you rotate this block, rotate it away so that this isn't on the bottom or on the side if you can. And also you might want to mark off that you did this side already. Next step in this process is to actually drill a hole through the center of these bases so that we can actually get the wire through. So what's going to happen is at some point the post or the lamp, whatever you want to call that, it's going to fit in here just like this. And there's a hole here and a hole here, and there needs to be a hole through here so you can pull the cord out the bottom. So the way we're going to do that is, since we've already beveled the top, we're going to flip it over and just take a square here, line up the corners just to figure out where that center is going to be. All right. So the hole through here is somewhat arbitrary. It's got to be at least 1/4 inch because that's the hole we have on the other side, but it's probably better if you make it a little bit wider, like maybe, I don't know, 3/8 or even 1/2 inch or somewhere in that size, because it'll be easier to align this with the bottom of the post in our next step. And I've got a cool trick for you guys later. So let me put in a 3/8 and let's see what this looks like. Turn on the drill press. It says about 1100. Nice hole. So a little follow-up on the drill press. It's been performing awesomely. Definitely recommend it. Our next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a channel from the edge to the center here using a 1/4 inch dado set to 1/4 inches high. So we have that set already. Now what that's going to do is basically produce this, and that's just for the cord to go inside. So you can see it that way. What I've done is I've already measured out kind of where the center height of the blade is, brought it up onto my fence, and we're only going to push this halfway. Okay? If we go a little past, that's okay. Just a little more relief here. But basically, the cord's going to come up and out this way. That's all we need. We don't need to go further. We don't want to go all the way through. There we have it. A little past. Maybe we'll go a little shorter next time. We're going to do some sanding. We're going to start with 100, move up to 150, 180, and then 220. Got our little orbital over here hooked up to a little shop vac down there. It is what it is. We may touch up the edges with a little bit of sanding sponge, but we'll see. We're also going to knock off some of the edges here a little bit, just so they're easy to the touch. Hang in there if you like watching sanding. Maybe I'll speed this up, or maybe I'll even cut this out. We'll have to see. I switched sandpapers to Cubitron 2. This is a trial pack I got from Home Depot, paid with my own money. It actually seems to work a whole lot better than the other sandpaper I was using. So I'm going to continue using this on the rest of the project. I don't know if you can see, I just water popped everything. And I'm going to go next to 180 and 220. I'm going to stop at 220, and that's where I'm going to start doing the staining and the finishing. Now that all the sanding's done, we got to figure out how we're going to glue this base onto the body here of the lamp like this, and apply pressure so that they stay glued together. So what I came up with was this. This is a 2x4. It's got threaded rod. It's 1/4 threaded rod in it. It's got a couple bolts that hold it in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the base, slip it through. I'm going to take some glue, glue it on, and I'm going to take the body of the lamp, slip it on very carefully, right where it needs to go. Grab one of these fender washers, stick it on top, and then I'm going to take one of these little 1/4 knobs and just spin it down to squeeze this in the right spot. And then what I'm going to do is the same thing on this side. I'm going to pull this guy down. I'm going to put the body of the lamp through. And again, flat washer, big one, and this 1/4 knob right on top. Key is going to be keeping the bottom in a spot where it's not squeezing out glue where it doesn't need to. That's it. We're all set. Now let's see if we can do that in real. You have a little play here that you can move it around if you need to. Right now I just want to get it down. You could also get a shorter threaded rod, but I wasn't sure what length I was going to make the lamps. So I just picked a 24-inch rod right off the rack. Okay, here we go. Now we're aligned exactly where we want to be. Yes, we are. And just crank it down. There we go. One down. One to go. Well, actually, 3 to go. Don't over glue the bottom here because it's going to squeeze out all over. And it's going to be a mess to clean up later. Here we already have a little bit we need to clean up. I'm going to get a rag in a second and do that. Kind of aiming more for the middle. The other thing the rods do is they keep the center channel open so that you can get the cord in later. This knob does not seem to spin as easily as the other one. Hopefully, we're not going to jinx ourselves, but hopefully it doesn't get stuck. You know what? It is getting stuck. We have a wing nut that we can spin on here. I think that's got a looser thread on it. I know I spun it off here. Oh, I don't know what happened here, but there's something on the rod that's preventing the rod from the nut from going any further. Can we get through that? I don't know. You know what? Always chase your threaded rod to make sure they work. So what are we going to do here? The quick solution I come up with is I've got this socket set, and I'm just going to stack sockets right on top until I get past this little sticky whatever spot it is. And I'm stacking them in inverse order. This is actually a pretty good idea. I could have done that earlier, so I didn't have to spin it down so far. But here we go. Are we aligned? We are aligned now. And we're cranking it down. I think I get A for creativity of using sockets to span this distance to push this down. And also with the idea of the next one to fill the gap so there's less spinning of the knob at the top. Here we are. This is a general finishes brown mahogany that we're going to put on a couple of these test pieces first, just to get an idea of what it's going to look like. This color is supposed to make it look authentic mission style brown. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our concoction here, which is this is our finish mix: urethane, Danish oil, and mineral spirits. So we have that. Just going to shake that up, wipe this on, a couple coats of this. So 2 of them we're going to stain, 2 of them we're not going to stain. At least that's the current plan. So first, I'm going to take this and just give this a quick mix, because that's what it says on the can. Then we're going to stain it on and wipe it off right away. And then we're going to let it cure overnight. There's our first lamp. Remember, we're going to wipe it on, wipe it off. I'm going to try to do that not quickly, but not slowly either. So let's see. This looks pretty damn authentic mission style, that's for sure. I mean, that's what it looks like to me anyway. It's got like the right color to it. It's got a brown, maybe a hint of red. That looks awesome. I really like that color. You know what? I think we're going to do all 4 of them the same way. So it's about 15 or so minutes later. We just finished staining up our lamp bases, our lamp bodies, whatever you want, lamps, period. We're using this non-sponsored General Finishes gel stain in brown mahogany. Very easy to put on, very easy to wipe off, and it looks phenomenal. I can't wait to see what this is going to look like when we put on our wipe-on finish. Hey, just one PSA, safety tip: all these rags and stuff that you used in staining, as well as the brushes and sticks, put somewhere safe. Dry them out and then throw them out. Personally, I use, I got this can here, steel can, drop everything inside, let it do its thing, and then eventually throw it outside. Stay safe. Here we are the next day. These things stained beautifully. What we're going to do today is we're going to apply our finish mix, which is basically urethane, Danish oil, and mineral spirits, just to kind of a combo. It's a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 mix. We're going to wipe it on. Should stay on about 30 minutes or so. Give it a second coat, maybe give it a third coat, and then we hit it with a light either steel wool or scrubbing pad, just to knock down any bumps. And that's it. Let's see how this goes. All I'm using here are these like t-shirt rags that I picked up at Home Depot. Make sure they're clean. I did wipe down each of the lamps themselves, just so there's no lint or dust or anything else sticking to it. And hold on, let me just make sure I shake this up. If this was just plain urethane, I probably wouldn't shake it up because you'd leave a whole bunch of bubbles. But this is thin enough where the bubbles kind of come out after a little while. So, may use this little puck here to kind of stand up our little unit here. Gonna load up the rag. Here, let me move this guy out of the way so you can see a little bit. And basically just wipe it on. Now, if you do this right, there should be no bubbles. There should be no streaking. There are definitely no brush marks because we're not using a brush. And it should absorb in. Just take that up, take that up. And gonna set it right there. Just like that, so we know which side we did. And then the top. And that's it. This is probably one of the easiest applications I've ever done. If you do find any kind of lint or anything else, just pull it right off. First finish done. Do this about, I don't know, 3 times. As you can see, our lamp bodies came out awesome. This Sapele with the a little bit of the stain and then our wipe-on finish. Came out very nice, very smooth, perfect color. This very much looks to me Mission color. So I'm trying to emulate Mission style. They've got this darker brown, typically in oak or cherry, but we're using Sapele here because I just want to see if that would work also, because we've got several projects we'd like to do in the Mission style, this being the first one. So what I'm going to do next is show you how we're going to put together this lamp, because the next step is basically lamp assembly. So let me just move these out of the way just a little bit so you can see what we're working with here. So you can buy this kit from Amazon. There's a whole bunch of them out there. I bought a 2-pack for 26 bucks. So basically all the parts you need to build a lamp is $13. So what I have chucked up in here is a 3/8 inch drill. What I'm going to do is, we already have a 5/16-ish hole here, is I'm just going to ream out or drill in a little bit more to be able to take the pipe and thread it in easily, because right now it's not going to go in. We're going to try just drilling straight through first. If that doesn't work, then we'll go get the drill, the dowel jig. That was pretty easy. So no need for the dowel jig. What I've done so far is I've threaded this nipple in as far as it would go, and then I tighten it down with this little mini screw here, just so it doesn't loosen itself. Now what I'm doing is with this other nut, is I'm driving, actually, hold on. We're gonna put the hoop brace or holder on top of that nut, and then I'm gonna take this, this other piece, and just kind of spin it on down. This is going to be locked down like this. This is going to be the support for our lamp. I need to know how far I need to thread this into the lamp post. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin it on, and then run the nut, lock washer, and then this little brass washer down, and I'm going to mark out onto here where it is. So that's how deep we got to go down here like this to get this thing to mount properly. All right, so to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 nuts, because we have an extra here, and we're going to back them up against each other, and then we're going to drive this shaft down into the lamp. Okay, so we have the 2 nuts backed up to each other. Gonna slip it in up top here, and we're just gonna take our wrench or our socket and just drive it down. All right. Putting the brass washer on, the lock washer on, and then we're gonna take one of the nuts and just screw it back on. And then we're going to see if we can fit this. Will it fit? Yep. That looks to be good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our little assembly here, our sub-assembly, and just spin it on. In whatever direction you want. Now the cord's coming out the back, so what I really want is this hanger thingy to be right about there. We have our wire hanger here. It's not all that straight, but it probably won't matter. I'm going to stick this through till we pop out the bottom, which we just did over here. And then we're going to take some electrical tape and our wire, tape it together, and pull it through. Oh, there we go. Success. Now let's peel this off and start the wiring process. So we have the wire out now, and we also have it running through here where we made that little gap. Now what we don't want to do is have this accidentally pull out. So we're going to follow the directions on this part, and we're going to peel the wire apart a little bit, and then we're going to put a knot in it. That'll prevent the wire from coming back out. We also don't want this really big. We don't want too much sticking out, because it's a lot to cram into the little spot that we have inside these little covers. So we've got the socket here. Again, there's 2 wires and there's 2 screws where you mount the wires to. It's not very complicated. So I'm going to take this, I'm just going to put a little twist on it so that it hooks around the screw better. Put it in there, and then I'm going to screw it down. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. We are 50% done with this part. And then going to put that right here. And we're going to screw that down also. So you got your hook going in the direction in which the screw is going to be screwing. If that makes sense. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to kind of get this knot to go up a little bit. If that makes sense. And pull the rest of the wires back down. Now you have some decisions to make. Which side do you want the little knob on? I think facing the front is probably the best way. So what I'm going to do is take this clip and just face it to the front and just push it down. That's it. Hear that click? Now we've got the whole socket in place. And then eventually, when you have your bulb in here, you're going to take this hoop, squeeze it, put it in, and here you go. That's how the lamp's going to be. Now you're asking yourself, now you're probably asking yourself about the bottom. Okay, what we're going to do here, let's get this hoop off. Is we're going to put a little dab of glue in this trough here where we have this. And I think we're going to use super glue so that the cord stays with the lamp so it doesn't get pulled out in any way. So for this, we're going to take some medium cyanoacrylate or super glue. We're just going to put it into the trough here right at the bottom. Then we're going to take our cable so it lays flat. We're going to put that in there also. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit it with the accelerator, and we're going to freeze it in place. But before I do that, I want it to be all the way in. So maybe do this in stages of wherever you put the cyanoacrylate. And just hold it down for a sec while it glues up. Try not to glue your fingers into this either. And there you go. We're done with the lamp. Now you may choose to do something with the bottom of the lamp. That's up to you. You can put little rubber feet or maybe a little felt pad or something along those lines. What I did was I bought this little package of these felt adhesive back mats, for lack of a better word. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put my lamp right on top of it. I'm just going to cut around the outside. Now I'm going to leave a little bit extra so it's a little smaller so it doesn't stick out the bottom. And then that's it. Then this will be glued to the bottom and you'll have a black base. Here's our lamps. We made actually 6 of these lamps because of all the lumber and stuff we had. So how did the project go? What were the challenges? What were some of the things we liked, disliked, and otherwise? Well, first off, you can't build one. I mean, you can, but you're wasting a lot of wood. Build at least 2, because when you cut these long pieces, you'll get more out of your piece of lumber. You utilize that much better. 2, your lumber should be just over 6 inches wide at a minimum. Because what that'll do is that'll give you one of these bases without having to glue it up. That worked out best for me. And then you can cut out 2 or 3 of these lamp posts out of the remaining piece. So basically you're working with short pieces of wood, 6 inches plus this is what, about 18 inches. So you're taking maybe 2 feet of wood, 6 inches wide, or actually 7 inches wide, and you got yourself most of a lamp. Get another one of those, you got yourself your second lamp. Amazon was great. This little kit inside for the lamp, $12 each. I bought a 2-pack. Actually, I bought 3 2-packs, and for 12 bucks, that wasn't bad. Also bought this shade on Amazon. It was $30 for 2, so each one's about 15 bucks. And net cost to me was about $36 for each of the lamps, which is under our $40. Fun project, looks really good, very inexpensive. Our finish that we got from Curtis. So if you haven't seen him, check out his YouTube channel also. Very easy to apply the finish onto our finished lamps. The stain worked out really well also. You know, I wasn't expecting that stain to look that way. It was going to stain too, leave too blank, but after I saw the color it came out, I just had to go with it all the way. So if you like what you saw here today, learned something new, please like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. Stay passionate, and we'll see you in the next video.